Alrighty, welcome back to our second lesson of Unit 2. Today we're going over Lesson 4. Lesson 4 focuses on solutions to our equations, building off of how we created our equations from the last lesson. So if you're confused on how to do that, make sure you go check out the last lesson or come ask me questions. And so every time moving forward, we're going to have a beginning page in our decimals lesson activity. And so at the top here, you'll have, on the left side, you'll have your learning objective, and I'll always provide the learning objective in the video at the beginning. So this is also one way for me to check if you've been watching the video. So all you have to do is write down what I have written down over here. And on the right side, we have our vocabulary. Your vocabulary I will leave to you to fill out. And this is more than just filling out or Googling it and putting in the answer, right? I want you to think about what the vocabulary words or terms actually mean and how it can help you moving forward, right? This is for you. This is going to be a repository for you. If you get stuck on something, you can go back and have a definition and focus on what you're actually learning for today. And so today we're focusing on what it means for a value or a pair to be a solution to equation and how we can find it. Think about it in context as well. And so for your first activity, it's going to be a review, hopefully, of what a solution of an equation means and how we can interpret it in terms of this equation, right? So a granola bite contains 27 calories. Most of the calories come from C grams of carbohydrates. The rest come from other ingredients. 1 gram of carbohydrate contains 4 calories. And so the equation 4C plus 5 equals 27 represents a relationship between these quantities. And so remember, as we talked about during class yesterday, right, how to read our equations, right? That's read our problems, right? That's the most important thing and probably the hardest thing, which you'll be continually doing in your math classes, right? I know that a granola bar contains 27 calories total. Okay, so that's my total amount. Remember that in your head. Most of the calories come from C grams of carbohydrates. Okay, I don't know my grams of carbohydrates, but I know that it is some variable, right? Unknown quantity C, right? C grams. The rest come from some other ingredient. Okay, so we have some other ingredients around here that I don't know where they come from, but I have some number from other ingredients. 1 gram of carbohydrate contains 4 calories. Okay, so I see calories. Calories reminds me of what I saw in the beginning, right? Connecting to my total number of calories. And so think about what the equation is actually saying, right? I have 4C plus 5 equals 27. What does C represent? If C represents grams of carbohydrates, all right, so my grams, I understand why it's multiplying by 4 because 1 gram of carbohydrate contains 4 calories plus 5. So, okay, so I have some 5 coming on there equals 27. 27 is my total number of calories. So think about what 5 represents in that situation, right? You want to slow down and break down what each of your sentences in your problem actually represent, right? Moving forward, this is something that we'll practice and something you'll have to continue to do throughout Algebra 1 and moving forward in Geometry and Algebra 2. And so the question then becomes, okay, so Priya says that neither 8 or 3 can be a solution to an equation. And think back to what you remember about what is a solution to an equation, right? A solution to an equation is what makes the equation true, right? And you see here, that you have an equal sign, right? I have 4C plus 5 equals 27, right? I have an equal sign here, right? When things are equal. So I know that if I have 27 on this side, right? This is almost a balance beam or a scales if you want to think about it this way. I have 27 here. And so I also need my left side to also equal 27. And this is mirrored, so this is my left, but I can see on the video that it's on the right. Right, I need 4C plus 5 to also be 27. And so take a look at 8 or 3. Right, 8 or 3 is representing our C, which is our grams of carbohydrates. And so how can you substitute in that 8 and 3 to see what you're going to result in, right? You can substitute the value in and check. You can see what's happening. Remember, this is 4 times C, right? It's multiplication. Plus 5 equals 27. So think about what happens when you substitute something in, right? If I have 8 in here, I have 4 times 8 plus 5 equals 27. And don't forget your order of operations. I know that 4 times 8 gives me 32. All right, I'm going to write that over here. I have 32 plus 5 equals 27. 32 plus 5 gives me 37, which is not equal to 27. So I know that that is not a solution to my equation. I have 37, which is all the way down here, and I have a 27 here, right? They're in balance with each other. My equations have to be equal, literally equal. And so see what you can do about 3, right? How do we know that 3 is also not a solution to the equation? And then start brainstorming ways how you can find the actual solution. Think about what I did here, right? I multiplied by 4 and added 5. What would be the opposite of that? If I added 5 and then multiplied by 4, opposite of adding, opposite of multiplying, right? Think about each of your steps, and we'll be exploring this over the course of this lesson. And so moving forward, we're taking a look at Jada's weekly earnings. And so Jada has time on weekends to earn some money, and at a local bookstore on the weekends to earn some money, and a local bookstore is looking to help sort books. And let me get this back up. There we go. A local bookstore is looking for someone to help sort books, and will pay her $12.20 an hour. Right now we're looking at hours. And to go to and from the bookstore on a workday, however, Jada would have to spend $7.50 on bus fare. All right, let's break this down like we did last time. Local bookstore is looking to help someone sort books, $12.20 an hour. To get to and from the bookstore on a workday, Jada will have to spend $7.15 on bus fare. Okay. 2 important things to look for. Write an equation that represents Jada's take-home earnings, E, right? This is my E. If she works at the bookstore for 8 hours in a single day, 1 single day. Let's break that down. So I have her E, which is her earnings. And E is equal to per hour, right? $12.20 per hour. Per hour is H, right? This is saying that it's multiplied for how many hours, right? This is per hour. Subtracting her bus fare, right? Because every day she has to go to and from, and so her bus fare is $7.15. So think about each step at a time. This is her total earnings. $12.20 per hour minus the $7.50 gives her total earnings for the day, for a single day, right? 1 day. And so for 1 day, she takes home $90.45 after working 8 hours and paying for the bus fare. Write an equation to represent the situation. So is the $90.45 the total earnings or the per hour, right? Where should it go? Where should it replace it? And I don't need you to solve anything. I just want you to write it as a replacement. And so on the next part, then go back to what we talked about for finding a solution to the equation, right? Remember, this is just exploration. Is 4 a solution? Is 7 a solution? Think back to the beginning of this video. And if neither of those are solutions, let's start brainstorming ways how you would find the solution, right? Think about, okay, so if I know that I know that 4 isn't a solution, I know that 7 isn't a solution. Let me see, is it going to be more than 7? Is it going to be less than 4? Start to brainstorm ways that you can find the solution itself. And then think about the solution in context, right? We had our equation on the previous slide, right? Our earnings equal 1220 H minus 7.15. Is the solution our total earnings? Is the solution our number of hours, right? Think about what's happening in the previous question. If she takes home this much, are we trying to find the total earnings or are we trying to find the number of hours? So think about that, right? Always remember, all of these questions are in a context. And so you're going to do the same thing when it comes to 4.3, right? Instead, now we're taking a look at two variables, right? We have a P, which represents the grams of protein, and F that represents grams of fat of a snack. And so, okay, so now I have a pair of values. And so this is the same way that we were looking at it before. Instead, now we have two variables. How can we represent the relationship between two quantities? And so use that for, okay, so if I give you both quantities and I need it to equal 60, are these solutions? If I have 6 grams of fat in a snack, how many grams of protein are there? If I know that my total, is 60 calories. And think about then what the solution actually represents in the equation and in the context itself, right? We want to think about this in a real world context, right? How can I use the solution and understand it in my context? And so then we always finish up with our lesson summary. So if anything that you missed from this video, you can always reread again in the lesson 3 summary. And so if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll see you in lesson 5.